Well, hello and welcome to the NACAC Town Hall and an opportunity to meet our amazing candidates. I would like to start by saying a heartfelt thank you to them for stepping forward, for being interested in serving our association. We are looking forward to asking them some questions and hearing a little bit more about their personal and professional beliefs over the course of the next half hour, 45 minutes or so. I am joined by a wonderful former for me, board colleague. By the way, I'm Ffiona Rees. I'm the chair of the nominating committee. I should probably start there. And I am joined by a wonderful colleague who is on the board, Tahirah. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Tahirah Jordan Crawford, current member of the board of directors. And also my other job, they'd like to say, is I work in undergraduate admissions at Columbia University in New York City.
So I'm going to have the candidates quickly introduce themselves, and then we will launch straight into the first question. So Derek is our chair-elect candidate. Would you like to start?
Yes, well, it's great to be a part of this conversation and to see everyone today. My name again is Derek DuBose. I serve as the Associate Vice Chancellor for Enrollment and Director of Admission at the University of Denver.
And based on where the Zoom squares are, Justin?
Hello, team, and thanks for taking the time. My name is Justin Money. I serve as Director of Recruitment at Carnegie Mellon University, and I'm a candidate for the position of Board Director.
Johnny?
Hello, everyone. My name is Johnny Johnson. I am Vice President for Enrollment Management at Washington College in Chestertown, Maryland, and I'm also a candidate for Board Director.
Sean?
Hi, everyone. My name is Sean Tahirah. I have the privilege to serve as the Director of College Counseling at Mid-Pacific Institute, and I too am a Board Director candidate.
And last but not least, Jen?
Good morning, good evening, everyone, depending on where in the world you are. My name is Jennifer Lee, and I am currently the Deputy Director of University Counseling at the Chinese International School in Hong Kong.
And I just realized that completely unintentionally within our board directors, I probably went from east to west across the globe. So how was that for planning? So I'm going to go ahead and get started with our first question, which hopefully is one that everyone was expecting. And that's describe a little bit about what unique experiences and qualities you bring to the board and how you feel that those would most significantly contribute as the position that you are applying to, either chair-elect or director. So Derek, do you want to get us started?
Sure, I'm happy to get us started. Well, first and foremost, I'm just truly honored to have the opportunity to serve as your candidate as NACAC chair-elect. This has been just an exciting opportunity for me, but also an opportunity to return back to an organization that I truly love. And it's so much been a center and really a covenant throughout my entire career. What has really leaned into my experiences and returning to the board in this experience is the opportunity to not only lead, but to celebrate the accomplishments of we as NACAC, but also the achievements of all of us as members. What makes me stand out as a candidate for the board, as many of you know, I will say I'm a coast-to-coast leader when it comes to our association, leading, of course, in Potomac and Chesapeake, my home where I grew up, Ohio ACAC, Rocky Mountain ACAC, WACAC, and a member of Hawaii ACAC. Lee has given me the opportunity to lean into the opportunities and experiences of all of our members from coast to coast. And please let me tell you, their lived experiences are quite unique and different. And I'm proud to share those experiences with our members, but also the board as well. I look forward to returning not only to the board, but lending to my voice in fundraising and advancement, which was truly a cornerstone of my achievement during my time as a board director within NACAC. I am proud of the work that this board has continued to do since that time and look forward to continuing that conversation as we continue to connect today. I am proud of this organization. I'm proud of our members, but more than ever, for us to hold on to the true value that we are NACAC.
Thank you, Derek. So I can certainly call on someone, but is there anybody who'd like to go first from the board director candidates?
So I have worked in finance and Wall Street before I got into education. And I feel like I bring management experience, managing people, budgets, administration, making difficult decisions. I would bring a diversity, equity, and inclusion perspective, being the first Korean American woman on the board. I'm a strong advocate for students, a counselor at heart. I want students of all different backgrounds to access higher education. I've worked on both sides of the desk in college admissions, college counseling, and international school counseling, and also in ed tech for my learning. I bring a wealth of experience both from the corporate and nonprofit sector that I can definitely bring to NACAC. And I've been in leadership roles directing college counseling offices, and I've served in 2 different affiliates, both in WACAC and International ACAC in leadership capacities, both on the professional development and finance committees. I currently serve on the board of a thriving international school in Korea, Daegu International School, and we currently steward the school by providing a vision to move the school forward, and we make strategic decisions with budgets, making the school financially healthy and fiscally responsible, and considering programming, hiring, and staff and policies which will keep the school thriving. I think I'll represent someone who has a very comparative perspective in both domestic and international admissions. And I think I would bring a very unique and again, comparative perspective and voice representing both the domestic and international side. So I would bring a lot of financial acumen, managerial experience, and just a unique and valuable perspective to the NACAC board. And I'm confident I can contribute effectively to the board's strategic decision-making process and make sure that if given the opportunity that I'm dedicated to serving and ensuring the continued success of NACAC.
If you don't mind, I'm going to hop in, and I know Justin was ready to answer this question, that Fiona just asked, but I just want to pose this to you. In a similar vein, but Justin, can you tell us a little bit more about what you consider to be the most important responsibilities of the NACAC board, and how do you plan to bring your unique leadership style to your role as a candidate for director? And other people can certainly hop in. I just know in that last question, Justin was ready to answer, so I tossed it to him.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So as I think about the board of directors of NACAC and the responsibilities that come with the role, there are 2 that are top of mind for me. One is the ability to recognize the varied challenges, needs that the students that we serve, there are 26,000 members and our 23 affiliates, all face. We all have very different contexts. We all face different challenges, have different opportunities. And as you think about the board setting the strategic direction of NACAC, we have to be thoughtful. We have to think slowly in order to make sure that all of those needs are going to be incorporated. The second responsibility for me is really one of fiduciary oversight, whether that's the financial work of the board or the work guiding the governance of the association and the strategic planning. That fiduciary responsibility is really important to ensuring the long-term health of the association. And the second part of your question, to what I might bring from my leadership background and experiences, I've kind of woven in and out of affiliate leadership and involvement with NACAC during what's been a very interesting time, I think, for our profession and for our associations. I had the privilege of serving on the old assembly. So I saw the old style of governance, the SPGP, but also had the opportunity to join the Affiliate President's Council as president of the Pennsylvania affiliate at the time that we were transitioning to the membership vote, transitioning to the new CEPP, to lead the Pennsylvania affiliate in updating our bylaws and governing documents to be in alignment with this new vision of NACAC. So I think it's given me this lens that I've seen what are the important sort of threads that have seen through NACAC during these changes, but also what's been kind of that guiding light on the hill that we've been trying to move towards in being an association that is looking for long-term success while centering the diverse needs of our membership in a decision-making process.
So thank you so much for that, Justin. And Sean or Johnny, if either one of you want to hop in on that.
Sure, I'll jump in real quick. I agree. The fiduciary responsibility is of utmost importance as a board director. I think there are a couple other things. One is an active listener. It's not just one thing to be a listener, but an active listener means getting involved with the community, whether it's the affiliate or at the national level. An active listener is on the ground listening to our members, and being responsible to what those decisions or what those discussions bring about. I also think it's making tough decisions and being able to give some clarity as to what those decisions are, even if that's not the decision of someone else, or even that's not the total agreement. We all have opinions and we all have strong opinions, and it's up to the board to take all those things in and say, okay, here's the direction we think we need to go after hearing a multitude of opinions. And the last thing I'll say is, I think that my experience of being at small private institutions brings a different perspective. Being in Iowa and being in Kentucky, where those are small affiliates and small schools, kind of in the heartland of the country, there's a different perspective of how the future of higher education is going. And now that I'm in Maryland, I've taken some of those things to apply to my position in Maryland, but been in the heartland for about 20 years, that allowed me to learn and grow and make mistakes, and learn from those from a different perspective.
And Sean, I'm going to give you dealer's choice on this one. You can blend the question, you can however you want, but let's hear from you.
Got it. No, thanks, Fiona. I think similarly to what everybody has shared, a key kind of responsibility of a board member is to be able to really, I think, envision and collaborate with others to build and sustain the NACAC of the future that really reflects, yes, traditions of the past, as Justin was talking about, also the current landscape as it exists, but also to be able to predict and project to what the NACAC of the future must look like, and to make sure that all voices, are considered and included in that. And I think Jennifer, in talking about, her experience across geographic locations and, corporate and higher education spaces, definitely spoke to that, as did Justin and Johnny. For me, working, starting my career at USC at a large private research university, though I'm a UCLA Bruin at heart. Yes, let's go Bruins, Fiona. Was a great introduction to the college admission work that we do. And yet, for me, really being a part of WACAC, while I was there, having mentors in that association to allow me to serve on the conference committee, to really be able to understand the importance of philanthropic partnerships, to be able to drive the mission-driven work that we do is so important. And then also to be able to work in communications with our executive board there, to be able to make sure that education and information was, shared widely amongst the community, not just with the select few in leadership, but that all voices were represented. And then, thankfully, I've been blessed to be a part of NACAC's API SIG, which has really been a transformative space for me. I will just completely acknowledge, during my time at USC, I didn't see many folks who looked like me, who were represented in positions of leadership. And so our SIG really was a place for me to be able to actively work with others, to revise our mission statement, to have the courage, to pursue leadership in NACAC through our Inclusion, Access, and Success Standing Committee, where I was able to again see, the NACAC of the past, and then to be able to serve on the ad hoc committee for mental health and equity, to be able to see kind of the NACAC of the future. I think, I've been privileged and blessed to be able to represent the voices of so many, to be able to collaborate with others across, just different ACACs, geographic locations, and hopefully be able to represent them well. Because for me, this work is really personal. It stems from my family. We really are representative of the transformative power of education, even in our own lives. And, NACAC has been such a transformative space for me. I live by the slogan passed down from my grandparents, Okage-sama de, which means I am what I am because of you. And really for me, I am what I am because of NACAC. And so being able to lead and serve in this space, to be able to hopefully create pathways for increased representation to make sure that, folks, even within the API community who aren't part of, the major ethnic groups represented have their voices at the table, is really important to me. And I'm just so thankful to be here with you all, and hopefully, we'll be able to have the privilege to collaborate with, the esteemed colleagues across the world to be able to create the NACAC of the future that we hope to, have lasting impact for years to come.
So that, I think, is actually a really nice plug to for the audience to, if you haven't already, go and watch the videos. They're less than 3 minutes each. So if you're like me, you can watch them, listen to them, not watch them, because I was driving in my commute. Very easy, didn't even make it to the office before they were all over. So absolutely listen to them. It's a great way to learn more about the background that our colleagues are bringing to the board.
Can I jump in for 1 second here?
Absolutely.
I heard Sean bouncing out both of his sides of LA between being a Bruin and working at SC, and also as a Trojan. I could bounce down to simply say, fight on.
I was going to say, Derek and I served on the board while we were at crosstown rival institutions and worked very well together, other than the time that we were flying back across the country the day before our football teams played. But, so I'm going to ask the question, and anybody who wants to take it can jump in. And that is, we were talking, some of you have touched upon this, that transparency and inclusiveness are really core values of the NACAC board. So how can NACAC continue to ensure that the decisions that we're making, that the board is making, is as inclusive of the different identities that are represented and the perspectives when we have a membership that's 27,000 plus individuals?
If I can, I'd like to jump in on that one, And I'm thinking of the inclusivity of who we are as NACAC in so many broad spectrums, from our diversity of who we are, lived and shared experiences, but also understanding the world that we live in today. I think what's so important to us right now in NACAC is that we are at a crossroads, not only in our profession, but also the attack on higher education as a whole. And I think that's something that we really need to hold true to and have a firm understanding that we can't get lost in the noise. I commend our CEO and the board and truly helping our members understand not only what the board does, but what NACAC does. I feel that we have really turned a page, a new chapter in NACAC in the last few years, and helping our members understand the work of NACAC. I feel that many of our members used to look at the association through the lens of their affiliate and kind of thought as, okay, it's like the big version of that, and that's not what it is at all. I think it's very important for us to understand from a coast-to-coast, regional, and international perspective, our members come from so many different walks of life and have so many different values that are truly important to the core of who they are, how they lead, how they manage, how they engage in our work. I think it's important that we're very informational in helping to keep our newer members engaged in this work and helping them remember why we do what we do, why we're in it. I think that's so important for us as a membership, and we can't get lost in that, because if we don't get lost in it, it gives us the opportunity to highlight the best of NACAC, our diversity, our membership, our pride, our fiscal responsibility and stewardship in our association. I talked about the attack on higher education at the federal, state, and local level. We're at a crossroads nationally, internationally, where we as NACAC get to control the voice of how we move forward and how we are in higher education. I think some true opportunities that lie ahead is not only we get to create the noise back and take back and define who we are, but we're front and center sharing the stories of a college education and what it can truly do for a student and their family, and how that's so transformative across the world that we live in. But I also think it's important for us to utilize data to make informed decisions and to inform our members of how we came to different decisions that we've made as an association, as a board, but also have a true understanding that there are opportunities for all of our members, whether they are new to this profession or have been seasoned for a lifetime in it, for opportunities for continued growth, sustainability, opportunities for advancement and mobility if they choose to take it.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. Communication and being inclusive of decision making, I think happens is a challenge across our institutions. I think that just in my institution, where people on campus of 1,000 students and 300 workers are saying, how come nobody ever told me that? or how come I wasn't involved in that decision making? So that's a challenge, even on a larger scale, for a 27,000 member organization. So I recognize that. And so I think as board members, we have to continue to be creative and innovative, and how do we get the information out? Social media, of course, is one way. We still have to rely on old school email and old school mail. But then sometimes we have to pull our colleagues in and go see somebody in our affiliate and say, make sure you read this, or make sure you recognize what's on social media today, or make sure you check out the website. There's going to be times where people just don't feel informed, they don't feel included. Sometimes that's on us, right? We have to make sure that we're reaching out to the right people, but we can do our part in making sure people get pointed in the right direction, as we do on our campuses. And so we have to do that same kind of thing with the organization.
So I just want to jump in really quickly because you were bringing up a bunch of different themes. And there's one in particular I want to hone in on, and I will say, Sean, Jennifer, Justin, just hop in if you would like. But we're talking about how we are perceived as a profession, right? We're talking about how higher education is perceived as a profession in a lot of ways. And so what would you all say, right, is the general public's view of the value of higher education, and what is NACAC's role in trying to bring about the significance and justify the value of higher education? What is our role in this? Because I hear a lot about how the public is perceiving us, even in our profession, how we're perceived. And so what is our responsibility as an organization to that? Jennifer, Sean, Justin?
Happy to jump in here. I think right now we're living through some unprecedented times with a lot of challenges directed at higher education. I think we need to foster a really strong sense of purpose, emphasize NACAC's mission and vision, and the positive impact members can have on students in the college admissions process. I think to inspire a greater sense of purpose and commitment. I think we have to emphasize NACAC's diversity, equity, and inclusion mission. It's a key strategic priority in recent years, and it has to be reflected in our programming, in our resources, in our advocacy efforts, and in our conversations. I also think it comes down to the individual. I think all of us, when we know our purpose and we know our personality, we have to serve the greater good. And I think NACAC, being a volunteer organization at the heart of it, and even this role as, for us, the board director, for Derek as the chair of the board directors, I think we all come with a sense of purpose and meaning, and we have to each one reach one and teach one and bring everyone together with this shared mission, vision, and purpose. And I think that will unite us in times where there are so many disparities politically, and we may have differing opinions, but we have to do it in a very empathetic, compassionate, and kind way where all voices and a diversity of voices are heard and respected.
I was just going to react to some of the other comments that have been made. And one of the words we keep using here is profession. And I think that's a really important word and distinction, that for each of us, I think we view this work as a profession, not as a job. And, you know, Jen, so much of what you were talking about there in terms of the shared sense of mission, you know, centering, having equitable and inclusive processes, the value of diversity, that's one of the characteristics that sets a job apart as a profession. And another that has been on my mind is also the shared sense of ethics that comes within the work. And that's been an area that I think has been perceived as a spot where can people trust the folks doing this work, right? From conversations in the news to fictionalized accounts to the challenges that we saw after the Varsity Blues scandal and the DOJ investigation around the SPGP. So as we're talking about NACAC being a voice, I think centering the shared mission that we've talked about, but also centering the ways in which we can continue to be a voice for ethics, for centering students in ways that support students' growth through professional development, through empowering our members, our colleagues, and students to be advocates. We don't have to have an enforceable code of ethics to still be that voice. And it's one of the things that it so sets us apart as a profession, and I think is a very important thing for us to keep at the heart of our work.
To answer your question and, to add on to what Justin was saying, I really think that, the onus is on us to really remind, our communities that, the purpose of higher education is really to allow folks to realize their purpose, to provide a means for personal growth, development, social mobility, to realize, again, their dreams, and to be able to be empowered to do so both in the classroom, yes, but even outside the classroom through the life experiences that they have, through, how they're able to change the trajectory of their lives and that of their families through this experience. And as we talk about, the importance of diversity, equity, and inclusion, to be able to remind folks of this purpose, at NACAC, I think it is about, having those in leadership who are reflective of our 27,000 members in leadership, or 27,000 members in our leadership, as well as the diversity of identities and folks who are represented in our students and families. And so, I think it starts with having a diverse candidate of slate for board directors here, and chair-elect candidates, which we have here. It starts also with having a workforce in our profession that reflects the students and families that they serve, which I think is really important, because that breeds trust, that shows folks that higher education is not only for a select few, for who historically it's been for, but it's for any and everybody. And I really am inspired by NACAC's mission and vision to really show folks that the transformative part of education can be accessible to all folks. And I think that it's also important for us to have a diversity of voices represented, to be able to show that I feel like in the end, when we can come together with these voices, we can come up with the best decisions that will reflect and I would say even represent the students and families who we serve, to then be able, as Justin was talking about, be driven by ethical practices that will promote, again, NACAC's mission and vision.
And I'm going to pick up on that last point that you just made about practices. And we're going to move into what I call our lightning round really quickly. And we're going to talk about the fiduciary responsibility that you will have as a member of the NACAC board, and governing and fiscal responsibility. So lightning, really quickly, I'm going to pose it to everyone, and I'll go around the screen again. Contributions that you have made in your roles, whether in your current positions or other leadership roles that you have held, of financial stewardship for the organization. So I'm going to start with you, Derek, because you are in the bottom screen. I'm going to go around.
Well, thank you. And with that, when I think about fiscal stewardship and responsibility, I'm just so fortunate and blessed to have an opportunity to have led in a variety of roles that have given me the opportunity to really have a firm understanding for fiscal management. In my current role at the University of Denver, I provide leadership and management for a budget of $4.2 million. I also oversee a process of awarding scholarships of over $21 million in merit-based funding a year. But with that, I really like to pivot to my time in alumni and advancement. As many of our members know, this is what I call admission part 2 for me. As of course, I did leave our profession for a period of time and became proficient in donor relations, fundraising, and stewardship. So I was very excited to return back to a college admission role, but also the NACAC fold as well. A skill that I brought to the NACAC board when, as our members, made sure that we made history by electing me as the second Black man to serve as a full elected term, and also our youngest board director in our then members' history. During that time, NACAC saw record-breaking fundraising and revenue generation that would directly support our members and truly allowed us to have the opportunity to come out of a unique experience, making record-breaking revenue, but also to create a brand new role that's currently in practice now on NACAC professional staff overleading these efforts. I was proud to lead our ad hoc on fundraising and development. And those were skills I brought to the NACAC board that were quite unique at that time. And I'm proud to see that this has become very much pivotal to our success after we came out of both a global and racial pandemic in our society. So when I talk about the fiscal stewardship and fiscal responsibility that I bring to the board, I always say, this is what I've practiced. This is my lived experience. And with that, I'm very looking forward to engaging and motivating and encouraging our board in our fiscal stewardship planning in the long-term process and our long-term success within NACAC.
Fantastic. You got away with it because you are the chair-elect candidate, but we are in the lightning round. So I'm going to challenge our director candidate.
I'm sorry, I have a lot to say.
I know you did. I'm giving it to you. But I'm going to challenge our other candidates to beat that. But less than 50% of that, okay? All right, Johnny, I see you next. And then I'm going to Sean, and then I'm going to Justin, and then I'm going to Jennifer, just so you can preview.
Yeah, real quick, I've also been a part of two other boards, Board of United Way and Board of YMCA Black Achievers, and helped manage a budget of about $1 million apiece for both of those. And then my current role, I manage a budget of about $3.5 million for operating budget and about $25 million for our financial aid and scholarship. So making tough decisions and using the finances the right way has been a part of my professional career for a while now.
In my prior role as Director of Admission at Chaminade University, as well as in my current role as Director of College Counseling here at Mid-Pacific, I am tasked to really set the strategic priorities for our offices, and really then to be able to understand which programs and services will support them and the achievement of them. And so with that, comes then financial stewardship and being able to balance competing priorities, to understand while, this is a really, really important priority, even perhaps mission driven, it's one that we might have to defer to the future because of more urgent, pressing priorities. And so for me this year in particular with Mid-Pacific, it's our first year in creating a comprehensive budget. And so I've had to engage with stakeholders across campus, come to, a meeting of the minds with other colleagues to be able to ensure that, the institution's financial health and wellness is preserved while we're still able to achieve our mission and goals in a way that best supports our students and families. I think I beat Derek.
That's definitely, it's a challenge for us to all take, right? So is I think especially about my time with the Pennsylvania affiliate, I had the opportunity to serve in the finance and budget stream multiple times. I led an ad hoc committee on long-term financial viability for the association. And through those roles, I had the opportunity to update our investment policies that drove our endowment, that supported grant funding, to review whether or not we had both the right balance of long-term and short-term goals for that, to look at ways to diversify our revenue streams, introduce a stronger culture of giving, introduce strategies for looking at revenue streams critically on a rotational basis. But one of the biggest takeaways that I think is relevant to the work of NACAC is that a fiduciary responsibility, it's the blending of that financial oversight with the understanding of the mission of the work. Sometimes there are actions that you can take that you could maximize your revenue on an individual program, right? But it might close the door to important constituents or to members. How are you thoughtful about balancing those at times competing interests? And that's something that I've engaged with and would appreciate the opportunity to bring to this board as well.
Jennifer.
All right. Well, I started out my career on Wall Street working for Goldman Sachs. And while it was not a fit for me in terms of a career, I learned invaluable skills in being financially aware and a good steward of finances. And I also know the value of investing. And I served on the International ACAC Finance Committee. And so we managed the budget of the affiliate. I also manage the budgets as director of college counseling. And I actually worked 1 year in development, so I am very financially aware and savvy about fundraising and philanthropy and giving back. Once this finances of an organization, being fiscally responsible and having a fiduciary responsibility and understanding budgets and being able to talk numbers, I think is very important skill for NACAC, but also moving forward, I think it's also teaching others to be able to talk finances and being comfortable with budgets and numbers, and also with philanthropy. I think you can look at different revenue streams as well as partnerships and collaborations. And a wise woman, a wise teacher once told me, money solves all earthly problems. So don't be afraid of money. Don't be afraid of finances. And I think it's really important to be financially literate.
I love that. And I agree with that woman, whoever that wise woman may be. And this would not be a NACAC forum if we didn't give you all just a little bit of a break from the business and talk about some fun. So let's get to know you as people a little bit. And I am going to toss something out here in the tradition of NACAC where we play hard and work hard. First and last concert you attended. If you have yours and you're ready, feel free to unmute yourself, but give us a little peek into your after 5 selves.
I mean, I'm ready. I can tell you right now, my first concert was Michael Jackson when I was like 8 or 9 years old. We went to Jackson 5. Michael Jackson and Jackson, his brothers were there. Chicago, White Sox Stadium. It was amazing. I had on my zipper jacket. I had on the glove. I did all the things. The most recent concert I went to was basically rappers over 40. It was Snoop Dogg, Too Short, E40, and Ice Cube. And it was awesome. It was amazing. So first and last, 8 years old, 40 plus years old. It was great.
Johnny, are there pictures of this first concert? Because I'm trying to envision little Johnny in
Yeah,
his
little
suit.
Johnny with a little afro, the zipper jacket. Mom and dad probably still have some stuff at home in Chicago.
I'd say for me, my first concert was probably Train after a Pirate game. I'm a big baseball fan, and they used to do these post-game concerts, and Train came through and they were fantastic. Most recent for me was Darius Rucker. He's doing a small theater tour because early in his career, he made the jump from the small venues to the stadium tour when Hootie and the Blowfish became big. And it was awesome because he was blending his more recent solo career with the old Hootie and the Blowfish kind of classics while having a lot of audience engagement because it was this beautiful small venue in Pittsburgh. So it was a great time.
Your Pittsburgh is really showing, Justin. It was a fellow Pittsburgher. It's coming out.
Absolutely.
I wasn't with Johnny, but my first concert was actually at Aloha Stadium watching Michael Jackson. Many, many years ago, I think probably 20 years ago at this point, when I was just 10 years old. And my most recent concert was at the, constant reminder of my team here at the Pacific, students, my family, in the comfort of my home on my couch, watching Taylor Swift's Eras Tour on Disney+. Which, although I don't identify as a Swiftie, it was quite entertaining, and I have now listened to a lot of her music on Apple Music, so.
Sean, I might have to amend my answer now that I think about it.
I'll jump in here. So Depeche Mode at Giants Stadium, the Violator tour when I was 13. And my mom, she was very kind enough to drive us to Jersey, and that was awesome. And my most recent concert, I would have to say, is Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour. So Sean, I watched it live. I flew to Singapore. My girlfriend and I, we had a shared birthday. And so it was a cultural experience, I was not a Swiftie before, but I became converted at the concert. So she is that awesome. And I'm sending good karma to everyone here today.
I love it. I love it. My very first concert, the OJs. The OJs, if y'all know them, you know who they are. For the Love of Money, Love Train, Family Reunion, all the jams back in the day. But the fun part about the OJs, the reason why it was my very first concert, I was 6 years old. It was at Crystal Plaza in Akron, Ohio. The OJs grew up in Canton, Ohio with my parents. So when my dad was a little kid, the OJs were trying, just trying to hang out with my aunties and would come sit and perform on the front porch of their home back in the in the early 50s and mid 50s in Canton, Ohio. But my most recent concert was to see my homegirl, the Queen Bee, with my good Judy, Beyonce. Of course, when I was on the Renaissance tour, had an amazing time. For those of you who follow me on social media, you probably saw the look that I was giving y'all. I came with it for that concert. Johnny and I had both been on a recruitment tour. I literally flew straight from Johannesburg in South Africa to Miami because I was not missing that concert and just had the most amazing experience this past summer.
I remember you getting off the plane.
Seriously.
I remember him getting off the plane saying, "I'm going to see Queen Bee."
Okay, so next question, Derek, is just for you and your role as chair-elect. And we're conscious of time, so I'm going to try and see if we can squeeze in 1 or 2 more questions immediately afterwards. So my question for you is, obviously in the role of chair-elect, you have a really important relationship with the CEO and therefore by default the staff, and also sort of really nurturing the culture of the board. So talk to me a little bit about how you plan to ensure that the progress continues to be made upon goals and priorities, and how you intend to go about that.
Absolutely, Fiona, and I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to step into the board or return to the board at this period of time. I was very fortunate. I guess I would say I was the end of the old school of the NACAC board iteration, where I really got to see the transition happen and take place within the NACAC of yesteryear and the NACAC that we as a board at that time wanted to see us grow into and to become. But I'm most proud to see over the last few years us really taking that step forward into becoming the NACAC of the future. I had the opportunity to sit on the hiring committee of our now CEO, Angel Perez, and just hearing his vision for NACAC was just so refreshing, not just to myself, but my board colleagues at that time that knew this is what we need at this point in time to take us a step further, to really help us step our game up, not just in terms of the members of NACAC. There's always been that family component, that love, that relationship, that professionalism that has always been there. But just to see the vision that he had for NACAC really aligned with the forward-thinking vision of the board at that time. But one of the things I've always reminded our members, my friends and colleagues across this profession, and really, as I say, NACAC's a family. The family members of our profession is really how the board works. And we have a true commitment and a responsibility to really be thoughtful and intentional to the work and responsibilities of the NACAC staff. A lot of times folks will look at NACAC and think, okay, you can do this, you can do that, and kind of think, yeah, there's a lot of great ideas that are out there, but it's about putting those ideas into practice. And our near 50, as I say, team members in NACAC, the staff, they're the ones who are truly responsible for putting our ideas, our thoughts, our vision together. So as chair-elect of the board and forward-thinking becoming chair, it's going to be important to have that understanding, but to help our members understand that I'm going to protect our NACAC staff too. And that is so important in the work that we do, because our NACAC staff and our NACAC team truly allows us as a board, us as a membership to thrive. And I think we should never lose sight of that. I feel oftentimes as we as members don't give the NACAC team, the NACAC staff, the credit that they are due. And that's something I believe I've always held centered in my time, both on the board, off the board, and will continue to do when I return back as chair-elect. But also within that, keeping that continuity, that consistency, the collegiality, the vibrancy of ideas within the board But I think what's going to be important is that this leadership role also uplifts, mentors our newer board directors, but also engages us in ways that we never have been before. And that's something that I am truly excited to do in this opportunity to return to this very important role that's critical to our mission, but our future success in NACAC.
I'm just getting so excited about the NACAC of the future right now. I'm so excited. But this isn't about me. It's about you all, right? All of you here today. So I want everyone to answer this question that I'm going to pose to the group. And I know we are kind of pressed for time. So we are going to again hit us with a lightning round fashion and try our best to get our answers out. But everyone entered into this process, put their name in and said, yes, I'm going to step up and I am going to put my hat in the ring for service. And so you did that with intentionality, thought, deliberation. But throughout this process, there had to be something that you learned about board service that was surprising to you or unexpected in some way. Can you share with us what that may have been for you? And I'm going to go in reverse order this time and start with Jennifer.
So in terms of surprises, I think because Heather did such a great job in giving us the booklet and we were briefed step by step, I think I wasn't fully surprised by any of this, but this is actually the first time that we're all together, because I think sometimes with time zone differences, we didn't all meet. So it's wonderful to meet all the nominees here, and it's a really wonderful group, and I think that connection is very and a heartwarming. So I'm going to take this question a different way, if you will. I think one of the big things that is being kind of emphasized more and more as I go through this process is daring leadership. I think the notion that we don't avoid difficult conversations and situations, and that it's really important to lean into the vulnerability when it's necessary to do good work. My dog is barking in the background because he's affirming me. His name is Bruce Lee, by the way, from Hong Kong. So I think that's been kind of, not so much as a surprise, but more a confirmation that we really need to lean into this, because we have to rumble with a lot of complex issues. So I think that the uncertainty requires skill building around traits that are deeply and uniquely human. And so I really want to emphasize that. And the next NACAC theme, the courage within, I think requires all of us to do this. So I think that's been more of a confirmation and not so much as a surprise, but a confirmation as I've been journeying throughout this process.
I love that. And Bruce Lee said, we are a package deal. He just wanted to make sure. Justin?
So I'll reinforce that I think the NACAC team, from the governance, the nominating committee onto the staff, they've done a phenomenal job of preparing all of us for this process, from the call to nominations to the time we've been nominees. So I don't know that there's been anything that has been terribly surprising to me from the time I made that decision to throw my hat in the ring. But something that I will say was an evolution of my understanding of this role over a period of years was getting that understanding that the work within the NACAC board is not the work of the affiliate boards, that this is not the super affiliate, right? That the leaders we see on stage at a NACAC conference, they're not doing the work of NACAC. They're setting that strategic direction. They're hoping to engage with the big picture problems. And then they are relying on this phenomenally talented and dedicated staff that is not a piece of what any of the affiliates do, right? So as affiliate leaders, we're in that leader volunteer role, and understanding what that evolution of service into far more of that board director leadership role that is more divorced from the volunteer, the doing component. was something that I came to understand over time, and it's not how I originally envisioned the role.
I'm going to clip that, right? And just play it over and over again for the future nominating committee process. Sean?
I would actually agree with Justin. Before I, put my name forward for service, I had really thought of NACAC board service to be similar to my WACAC service, where, on the conference committee or in the communications committee, I was on the ground with other committee members, making things happen. And, since learning more about the NACAC board, it's been clear to me that, as Justin said, we really collaborate amongst, our team of board members to really set the strategic vision, to make sure that it aligns with the mission and vision for NACAC, and consider who might be best empowered then to carry out those goals, whether it's as Derek and Justin said, our wonderful NACAC team of folks who I've been able to work with on our ad hoc committee and standing committees, but also maybe if other duties might be better sent out to our affiliates or to other organizations or corporations who share our vision, but who might be better resourced or better positioned to kind of realize those goals. And so for me, that's been just a surprise. And I'd say also then affirmed my belief really then that NACAC and its leadership does need to be reflective of its membership, especially from a DEI lens. And so me, it's important to me. I feel a weight of responsibility as a fourth generation Japanese American and possibly first Asian American male and Hawaii Association member ever elected to our NACAC board, just to make sure that our association and how we choose to move forward really reflects our greater membership and population.
Gosh, that's so timely with everything that is happening in our country right now. Johnny?
Yeah, I'll say, since I put my hat in the ring, I've had a chance to go to several different conferences, and I actually have been surprised at how many people actually are paying attention. And we're like, oh, so you are running. Oh, so what happened? What made the decision? So I've been really happy and affirmed by that. But I was surprised at how many people knew that the candidates were out there. I know we've all got clicks on our LinkedIn's and everything like that. So that's really been helpful in continuing the road to this point. So, but I was very surprised at how many people came up to me at different conferences to say congratulations, or we're glad you're in, or I didn't know you were thinking about it. So that's been really cool.
A celebrity in the profession. Derek, I'm going to have you round out this question before we turn it over to our chair.
Absolutely, and thank you. What's been so unique about going through this time? There's different pieces. I remember the first time was, as Jennifer talked about the big booklet that Heather provided for us electronically. In 2017, we had an actual ginormous booklet. And so going through that yes, it was huge. And so you have the nominees at that time, just referencing and just having a firm understanding of not only the work of NACAC, but how those ideas for the mission and vision of our association and ultimately our strategic plan that we were creating at that time comes together. Because a lot of times you don't have that context before you run for this. And I think it was so important in that time, and that's when we had LDI then, we really had that firm sit down talking to say, is this what you really want to do? Do you want to move forward? And I think that's an honest question that we always have to ask before we run for something like this. Is this something that we truly want to do? And having that understanding really better prepared me for the work in NACAC, to understand there might be different ideas that my various colleagues may have that may not align with who I am, but it's also the notion of folks understanding that we as NACAC are also one voice. We will debate time and time again various ideas and trends and essential needs for our members. And that's what I want to hold on to, that we are the National Association for College Admissions Councils. You know, we serve our membership that gives us the joy and the opportunity to impart that success into our students. And I think we can never lose hold of that truth because that is who we are as NACAC.
Thank you all. I am going to echo Tahirah of like, I am super excited about the future of the association. I wish we had space for all of you. I think we are really fortunate to have such an amazing array of candidates. So I thank you for this time. I want to sort of round off with a couple of different things. I will put a plug in again for the videos. If you haven't, go watch them. Know that coming out in another bulletin, we're going to have statements written by all of these candidates that actually answer the question of sort of talking about the challenges that our profession faces and how important the work that we do is. So look for that, read it. I'm excited to see their responses as well. I will put in a plug for voting. Vote early, don't vote often. And voting will occur, it's going to open up at 10 o'clock Eastern time on the 24th of July, and it'll be open until 5 p.m. Eastern time on September the 6th. So you've got a pretty wide window during the summer. We know summers are a little busy and hopefully people are disconnecting. But please do your research. Thank you for listening. Thank you for making it this far. I want to thank nearly lastly, the nominating committee for helping us put together these questions, this process, these amazing slate of candidates for you to select from. And then lastly, I do want to end as I started, and that is by thanking the candidates for stepping forward to serve. These are trying times in our profession, and it takes true courage and leadership to put yourself out there. So thank you very much. I hope everybody has a wonderful summer, and I look forward to seeing you in person in the amazing city of Los Angeles in September.